Hi, I'm Jen, and I am an English tutor with Cambly. I have just completed my first 500 minutes of teaching time on Cambly, and I wanted to share my experience with you. So to be fair, I actually have completed 499 minutes, but we're just going to round it to 500 just to be easy. So I had gone online and done some research about different companies that you can teach English to different people in other parts of the world. And most of these are children in China, and their parents are, after school, they're having them take English lessons to help them with their education and their future career plans. But they have a lot of requirements. For instance, there's only certain hours in which you can teach these children because they're in school. And those hours are very different because of time change here in America. So for me, my teaching hour window is basically 4 in the morning to like 9 in the morning. And some of those hours work, but then a lot of them have a requirement of how many hours a week you must be available. And with my own household and the craziness of getting everybody ready for work and school in the morning and needing there to be a quiet atmosphere for you to be able to teach in a professional setting, it just wasn't working for me. A lot of them also require that you have a bachelor's degree, and I am a few months away from finalizing my bachelor's degree, so that also limits me. Most of those companies do pay a little bit better, or quite a bit better than Cambly, but they don't work for me as well. So with Cambly, you are not dedicated to a specific country or part of the world. These are people who are anywhere in the world that want to practice their English. I've even had somebody right here in the United States that is not from here, and she wanted to practice her English. So they can be absolutely anywhere. They can talk. They can want to talk at any time of the day or night. And so Cambly is looking for all kinds of tutors. So if you're thinking about Cambly as an option, I'm going to put a link, my referral link, below here, and you can click on that and join Cambly with an application video, and it helps me a little bit, and I'm happy to help you. So let me tell you about my application experience. I had registered originally for Cambly about a month ago, and I didn't hear back. I really expected I was going to hear back in a couple of hours, maybe a couple of days, and then a week went by, and just life happened, so I didn't worry about it too much. And I thought, well, maybe I just wasn't what they were looking for, but I just kind of forgot about it a little bit. And then this past Friday, I received an email saying that they activated my account. Yay! So I went on, I went through the tutor guide like they recommended, and I read through all the information. I went on YouTube and I watched other people's videos. There are a few Cambly videos, but I noticed that there wasn't a lot. So that's why I wanted to make a video, is there wasn't very many Cambly videos that talk about what it's like to be a Cambly tutor. But I did also find some students who had posted their Cambly experiences, and I watched them. I watched sometimes a 30-minute video about, which was just their phone call, their entire phone call, their lesson. And from that, I was able to learn from those tutors how they do things. So that was really rewarding, and I highly recommend that you do research. When I was doing research about Cambly, I went on YouTube and I went on Google and I just typed in the name and I read articles and I watched videos that people had posted about their experience, and it was able to teach me a lot. I was warned you may have a streaker. I haven't experienced that, and from what I understand, a lot of people don't anymore, that Cambly has made some changes to how they do things, and so streakers, which used to be common on Cambly, don't happen hardly at all. But be prepared just in case. I've only had one experience where a gentleman used foul, inappropriate language, and I was able to overcome that pretty quickly and just just pass it over. I didn't want to make it seem like it was okay, but I also didn't want to make it a huge deal. So I actually think that he was trying to see if he could get me upset, and it didn't work. So we actually had a whole hour-long phone lesson, and it was great. I had no problems. So according to Cambly's stats, I have had 23 chats so far in my 499 minutes, my 500 minutes. But of those 23, 5 or 6 of them have been, a couple minutes or less because the student hung up, or maybe they didn't mean to call, or they were just fooling around with it. I don't know what the reasons were, but they ended very abruptly, but they still show up on my history. Of those 23, I have had about 11 that I felt were really good calls, where I think that those students will want to work with me specifically again in the future. And so that's really good, and to have some students that you can build a rapport with and keep working with. So after I got the application activated, or I got my site activated on Cambly, I went online and I decided to make a schedule of times that I was going to be available. And I was thinking that people would be able to book in my time slots. And maybe they could have, but I don't think so. I think that they need to know, you as a teacher. They need to have had a first conversation with you first before they can book with you. But I don't know either way. I haven't found anything that says either way. But when I showed up on my first day, those hours that I had selected, I didn't get any reservations. What I also reserved for when I first signed up, there was only a few slots, but there was a few slots that were available for what they call priority hour. And in priority hour, you are agreeing to make Cambly a priority for the entirety of the hour, and that you will be dedicated to your computer. And they agree that whether you speak to anybody or not, they will pay you a minimum of 15 minutes of pay. So if you don't speak to anybody for that time frame, they're going to pay you for 15 minutes. If you speak for the whole hour, then you get paid for the hour. It's no different. But I've also realized that priority hour is not only just you making Cambly a priority, they seem to boost you to the students as an available tutor to choose, and they seem to make you a priority. So on my first day, I started at 7:45 in the morning, and I was marked as visible on the app to be seen, and I'll show you what that means. On the Cambly app, it shows you all these tutors are available in green, and the ones at the bottom in red will be available soon. They're just currently on a call and willing to take new reservations. So there's a lot of people that they can choose from. So to be bumped up to higher on that list is a good thing. I mean, that's where you're going to get your calls. So I was available from 7:45 until 1 o'clock, not as a priority, and I didn't receive a single lesson. I didn't get a single student who chose me. And I was a little bit bummed and a little bit bored, but I used that time to be looking through YouTube videos, and I just was ready. At 1 o'clock, I had my first priority hour from 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock, and almost immediately at 1 o'clock, I had a phone call. It rings. It's not really a phone call, but I had a lesson ring, and the gentleman was reserved for an hour. He reserved the time slot for an hour. He's a private student, and we spoke for that entire hour, and it was so much fun. It was interesting. I was able to give him some corrections from things that I learned from watching other people's YouTube videos on how to correct somebody effectively, and he learned stuff, I learned stuff, it was he lives in a country that I visited before, and so it was pretty interesting. After that call, I stopped for what I'd planned on stopping for the whole day, but then later on in the evening, I popped on and I said, hey, well, let me just go in again and see if I can pick up another call. So again, I had no reservations, I had no priority hour, and I had no calls. My recommendation would be to regularly check the priority board, because I'm going to guess after you've started taking calls, it becomes more available to you. So anyway, I was checking to see if anybody reserved me yet, and if the person I had spoken to first had decided to sign up with another reservation with me, and he hadn't. But I popped over to the priority hour screen and saw that more time had opened up. So at, I think, 9:02 at night, a 9 o'clock slot opened up and said, hey, if you'd like to take this, we still have a spot. And I said, okay. And almost right away again, I got a call. So my experience has been is that during those priority hours, that's when you're going to get the most calls, because they make you a priority to be booked. When you just kind of show up, so far I haven't had a whole lot of luck with that. So that's all I did on my first day. Yesterday was my second day, and I had several calls I had booked priority for 6 hours with a 2-hour break in the middle. So 3 hours a break and then 3 hours. And I spoke to several people, some for a short time, some for a long time, and it was great. I mean, nobody was inappropriate, nobody was rude. People just want to learn. They just want to learn English, and most of them just want to learn it through conversation. So we talked about weather, we talked about places to vacation, we talked about places we've visited. I've talked about different cultural things here in America, and they tell me about cultural things in their countries. We've talked about animals and our families. I am always cautious to give few personal details because I think that that's smart to do. I think that you just need to protect yourself a little bit, but you can give general information. I never give my children's names, but I will say that I have 4 children and a husband. It's just finding ways to communicate. When I finish my calls, in my notes, I always write things that I learned about that person, so that the next time that we talk, if we talk again, I'll be able to bring up some of those points that they said to me, and they can feel valued. It's another tip that I would recommend. The downsides of Cambly would be that the pay isn't great. Evidently the rating system is really terrible, but so far I haven't had that experience because they only rate once a week and they haven't rated me yet. And that is based on a 5-star gauge that the students give. I don't know. A lot of students complain about it a lot. So, okay. I guess it's not very good. I don't know. Maybe I'll have a different experience with that by the next video. The students really seem to want to learn, and that to me is a big pro. It's they want to do better at English. They want to become as good as a native speaker. And so they are motivated to get homework, or motivated to get ideas as to how to improve. Even someone who says, well, I just want to have a conversation, I will still correct them regularly through the conversation and fix the order of words in their sentence. Cambly gives a great option for students that after the call is done, they can go back and review the whole call, or they can click right on my correction that I put in, which I type in a correction. They can tap on that correction, and it will take them directly to that part of the video so they can review that, and that is great for them. The students just are eager to improve. They are all very nervous that they are not doing a good job. So I encourage you to encourage them, to let them feel like they are doing a good job. Find, when you're telling them that these are some things that you can work on, make sure that you're telling them something that they're doing really well and make them feel confident. And they will become better at speaking English. When I am teaching, I use a headset with a microphone, and it makes it more clear for the student. They don't get the reverb that you often will get using just your laptop microphone, and they're able to just get a clearer tone from me. I always also keep my phone really close, because a lot of them will ask me, they'll say that they want to tell me about where they live, and I can look it up on the phone, and so while they're telling me, I can see the picture and I can say, is this it? Is this it? So they know I'm on my phone, not because I'm having a conversation, but because I am looking up what you are talking to me about. And so just staying engaged with that. Book priority hours, recheck to constantly look to see if there's more priority hours. You might get technical difficulties. That's probably the biggest problem that I've had, and I've only really had it majorly one time with one student who booked an hour with me, and after 30 minutes he ended up hanging up. But for that first half hour, it was rough because the technical on his end was really bad, but he wanted to continue the lesson, and I was just unable to be very effective. And I apologized, and he said it was okay. He could hear me, but I wasn't able to hear him, so I couldn't correct him. I couldn't hear his answers to my questions very well. I would have to assume that I knew what he was trying to say, and that made it a little bit difficult. And like I said, after 30 minutes, he either just hung up or the phone disconnected to a point where it wasn't going to pick back up again. And so if that hadn't happened, I would be over 500 hours. So there's always the potential that with anything that there could be some negative things like, foul language or inappropriate content, or I've heard that children especially will take you to the bathroom with them. I haven't had that happen. I had two little girls who called me, and I think that they were on the I know they were on the free trial, and I don't think anybody in their house knew they were on it. They didn't speak any English, and they were both giggling, and it was really fun to try to communicate with them, and just to I have a little box of little props here, and so I would bring out my little bear, and sometimes if somebody is talking about the world, I have a little globe here, and I'll point to something. If it's somebody that they do a really good job, I give them a thumbs up or I give them a wow. And I just try to find different little fun ways to set me apart from the rest of the tutors, and they seem to appreciate it. And sometimes I'll do things that are really cheesy. I'm dealing with an adult and I'm like, wow, and they laugh because we're adults, but we still like to get our rewards. And so this is a reward. I really do. I can't say enough good things so far about my Cambly experience. It's mostly been pretty good, and I would really recommend that if you are looking for some extra income, maybe it's you already have you're a stay-at-home mom, or you are doing something that it doesn't make your life conducive to have a full-time job or to work a specific schedule, and you need to be able to work on the go, at your own pace, at your own schedule. This is great. If you already have a job and you need to supplement that income, this is great. If you travel a lot, whether just on vacation, or maybe it's for you have to travel a lot, maybe to visit certain people or whatever, this is a great option. If you have Wi-Fi and a laptop, and good lighting, you can teach from anywhere in the world. There's a lot of these tutors that are American or English or Australian or whatever, any other English-speaking country, and they are living abroad. Maybe they're a missionary. But they can go and get on Cambly and teach lessons and then make American money in foreign countries. So there's just a lot of really good options for Cambly, and I do have today, in an hour, I have my first repeat lesson. So one of the students that I've already taught has requested a repeat lesson with me today at 12 o'clock. So I'm really excited about that. It's my first one, and so I'm pretty excited. This is going really well, and it's better than I really expected, and it's just a really fun experience. So again, I've got my link down here, and so if you are interested in Cambly, I would love it if you would choose my referral link and then get yourself started. Now, if you don't hear back from them right away, it's okay. Don't get worried. Like I said, it took them a month for me, and I've heard that that's pretty normal. So it can be a little bit frustrating, especially if you want something right now. But if you think you want something in a month, right now is a good time to get going and to start that video. Your application video, keep it smile, make sure you have good lighting, and they like it if you use your hands, and just tell them a little bit about your why you want to teach English, how you teach English, speak at a slow pace or a normal pace, and just not too quickly, and which is always a problem for me. And use props. Even if you're not planning to teach with props in your video, use props. Tell them about your educational background, your travel background, why you want to help them, or just that you want to help them, and keep it fun. Yeah, so this is just, my recap of the past couple days, and I hope to do more videos so I can continue to share with you my experience on Cambly, because there's not a whole lot of people doing that right now. And I feel like it's a worthwhile endeavor to share with you. So stay in touch, write a comment. I'll try to keep coming back and checking and reading and replying to those comments. And I guess that's about it. So thank you so much. And if there is something that you want to know more about Cambly and you want me to do a whole video about it, I absolutely will. I just kind of did this off the cuff on the fly, and so that's why I ramble a bit. So thanks so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you on Cambly. Bye-bye.